The following program was produced by a PAC TV community producer and does not reflect the views or opinions of the PAC TV staff or the PAC TV Board of Directors. The content contained herein is the sole responsibility of the community producer.
Hi, welcome to City Lights, City Streets. My name's John Alden. Mark, get over here. Mark,
What?
quit playing with that thing.
We.
So I like to. I watched the show a week or two ago. You were teaching, trying to teach people how to read the newspaper, and I think that was a very relevant topic to be discussing.
Yeah.
Because you need to read more than one newspaper to get a real good all-around view. You read 3 or 4, and it'll kind of flesh out so you get all points of view on the subject, because what you see ultimately is dependent upon where you sit.
I'm sitting
And
right here.
If you have a political agenda that you're trying to pursue or vote, then you're going to be reporting things from that point of view to make whatever it is you're supporting look the best to the public. So I got some newspapers here. Yeah, that's a good one for you. That's a good article right there.
So what, we're going to teach them how to read the newspaper now?
We're going to teach them how to read the newspaper now.
Looks like it's already been read.
It has been read. It's been read. Dropped on the floor, stepped on. So what I was looking at was
I'm reading the newspaper. Isn't that what you want us to do? We're teaching
Well,
people
yeah.
how to read the newspaper, right?
yeah, I guess you got to
What do you
teach
mean
them how
you
to read. All right,
Okay.
all right, read the newspaper.
Sheesh.
But you know what I wanted to point out?
Hey,
What?
I'm trying to read the newspaper here. Okay? You know, you want us to read the newspaper. We're teaching them how to read the newspaper.
But-
you know?
But
Right.
if you read the newspaper,
Yeah. Well, you have to read it.
but you got to talk about it too, because that's representative democracy at work.
Well,
If you don't talk about it, reading it isn't going to do you any good. I've read a lot of books, but if I don't share them with anybody, if I don't share them with them, if I don't share them with you, how can you benefit?
I'm a communist newspaper reader. I don't want to share my democracy of reading.
Communist?
Yeah, communist newspaper reader.
Well,
Hey, there you go. Time has come for commuter rail. Don't you think we should have a public transportation system in this country? A good one?
we used to have a public transportation system in this country till the oil companies wanted to sell oil,
There you
and so they transport everything by truck and car and.
This is ridiculous. We in America, we as Americans, should have the best transportation system in the world, and we don't. Because they spend $1 billion a year on the war, Afghan war. Why not take $1 billion a month? What did I say, $1 billion a year? No, $1 billion a month. Why don't they take $1 billion a month, Ethan Allen? This is Ethan Allen, and I'm Mark from City Lights, City Streets. And Ethan's going to be taking over my show because I'm going to be going on a sojourn to the most holiest place in the country, in the world, and I will be going on a 14-day
Going
water.
to Bethlehem?
No, I can't say where.
Oh.
It's around New Jersey somewhere.
I like Bethlehem. You know, I
Yeah.
heard something on National Public Radio, 90.9, the FM dial.
90.9?
You should check it out sometimes. It really
90.9.
has some great things.
I was listening to that.
But
the
anyway,
other-
so I'm listening to it, and they were talking
He's
about
taking over the show, so.
the Israelis had the Church of the Nativity was under siege, I believe, on Easter, or was it the day before Easter, or maybe the day after? At any rate, the Church of the Nativity is under siege.
In Bethlehem.
And I started thinking about, wow, this is really East-West, class warfare, or Muslims against the Jews, But then they were reporting, and the news reporter was being very careful to point out that a third of the people that were hiding in the church were civilians, women and children,
Why?
and that they were Christians. And that there are many, many Christians in Palestine. It isn't just Muslims.
Mini ones?
And
What do you
that
mean mini
they,
ones?
I
Mini,
don't
mini?
mean many, like many.
I thought you
No,
said
I mean
mini.
very many. There are a lot of Christians
Small people.
in Palestine. And they are as equally opposed to the illegal occupation that Israel has had in that country since like 67.
Oh, you can't say that though, because you can't be against Israel.
I'm not against Israel.
There you go.
I'm not against Israel. I'm not against the people of Israel. I'm not against Jews. I'm
Well,
against violence.
You're against violence.
Violence does nothing but produce violence.
Yep.
I heard it in National Public Radio. The Chinese Prime Minister came out and told the Israel Prime Minister that severe oppression will only increase the opposition to it. Excuse me, hello China. You ever hear of Tibet? Remember that?
Oh, I wasn't laughing at you. I was just reading the funnies.
I was laughing at me. Hey,
But
so,
you did,
we were looking at the paper.
I was looking at
anyways.
Ziggy
I
here.
went off and
Zig- yeah, that was Ziggy.
Read Ziggy.
Ziggy, he's looking at the sun. And he's saying to his son, "What?" That's what he says. What? Looking at the sun, Ziggy.
Yeah.
He's looking at the sun, and he's saying, "What?" Isn't that funny?
Is that what? W-A-T-T?
All right, we're done with
So-
the funnies.
You're done with the funnies. Now, you were looking at the paper here, and this time
Yeah.
to read a paper, okay? You need to read more than one paper, okay? You need to read lots
I'm
of papers.
trying to. He's
Look,
taking
if
them
you
away
tear
from
the
me.
paper up, you're losing spots, you're out of control.
It's in here.
You're out
I
of
got it here.
control.
He had an article circle for me. Gee, I didn't notice the giant red marker in yellow, Oh, you want to read the story about energy-saving beetles? They had these ladybugs, I guess, that one ladybug produces more nuclear power than an entire nuclear power plant. One beetle from the Amazon.
Actually, it was the advertisement for Victoria's Secret that I wanted you to read.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So you
it's so
totally
good. It's
lost
so
it.
good they're crying.
You
We'll read the
lost
newspaper.
What?
That's a good one, huh? What is he saying now? I am not. This is what Bush says in the paper. Read that quote right there.
This is good. Yeah. George Bush. He's a great man. We're lucky to have him for president. Wait.
That should be on the
I need to
comics.
see that again. This is great. I like that. That's good. And you know what?
Oh, look, bras are on sale.
Oh, and look, right across the thing from them, they have another charming couple. Seriously, though, what do you got George Bush is saying here? His quote, "I'm not much of a social butterfly. If you want to find me, you can come and find me sleeping in the White House
At night. Oh,
at night.
at night. Well, at least he's not sleeping on during the day on the job.
I'm not somebody that says, gosh, I can't wait to get to Washington so I can go to all the cocktail parties. That's not what I'm about." Geez, I heard the champagne flowed mighty heavy on,
On the inaugural ball.
yeah, mighty
Yeah,
heavy.
$30 million worth.
Yeah, something
Imagine
like
that they spent $30 million on an inaugural ball when there are 12 million children living in poverty, according to the U.S. Census Bureau 2001.
Is that all?
12 million. I know there's got to be
In the United
more.
States?
There's got to be more.
Well, you know what?
Oh, I looked up poverty in the dictionary. You know what it said? Poverty meaning without basic needs. And so without basic needs is what? Food, clothes, housing,
Food, clothes, housing, education,
water,
opportunity.
running water, opportunity.
Running water, there's a big thing.
Yeah, and like North Carolina,
You
there's
know-
like 180,000 people without running water still.
In
And not-
Palestine
in
right
South
now,
Carolina.
thanks to the Israeli occupation and their
Yeah.
to what they've been doing with the tanks and everything, they
Yeah.
have no running water, they have no garbage pickup, they have no electricity.
Yeah.
I mean, these
Yeah,
are all
people-
regular people. These are just middle-class people like me and you. They're not,
Yeah.
they're nobody. They're not involved with Hamas. I mean, sure, there might be people within this huge group of people that are involved with Hamas, but on the whole, these are just innocent people like you and me and him and the people, your next door neighbors, just people. They're just working, trying to make a living, trying to keep out of other people's face. Okay, the bulk of them. Okay, and they
Bulk of
got
them.
no water, they got no
Yeah.
electricity, the only food they have, nothing's going into the country. There's nothing to be found anywhere to sell, that people are selling. The only thing they have is stuff they've stockpiled. And in the middle of all this war and violence, there are groups, gangs going around robbing people and killing people and raping people at the same time. It's so ridiculous. Violence only multiplies violence. It's only going to increase the opposition
Now,
to
what-
the occupation.
What'd you say about Aristotle? Aristotle had a quote, and what separates us from animals is we have the ability to reason.
We're supposed to have the ability to reason. That is what separates us from animals. Animals can, I'm sure you've watched, the Wildlife Network, whatever it is, on cable, and you've seen that the bears do indeed love their cubs, and the foxes love their cubs, and animals love their babies, and that they feel sorrow when even the birds get, you can tell they're depressed when their mate gets blown away. It's like, so
I saw a blue jay
animals
crying
have
the other day,
feelings,
yeah.
but what Aristotle said separates men from the animals is that we have the ability to reason, the ability to be able to look forward into the future, to see the result of our actions or inactions, to see the impact that the future that we allow to be create will have on our lives and our children's lives. And that's what separates us from animals, is our ability to reason, gee,
That's
if
right.
we don't do this, or if we do this, bad things may happen, or good things may happen.
Well, you know what they say about birds is the early bird catches the worm.
You know what they say about the early worm?
He's pretty much is a dead duck. Well, I just read in the paper here in the old colostomy memorial. This crap bag of a newspaper.
Easy.
Easy. Yeah. It says Pilgrim. Now you make up your own mind about if this statement by David Tarantino makes any sense. You make up your own mind, okay? It says Pilgrim spokesman David Tarantino said losing the National Guard would not affect plant security. Losing the National Guard will not affect plant security. That's what David Tarantino said about the National Guard.
So
Does it make sense? Does that statement make sense?
Well, it would make sense except for one thing. I was actually looking for it right here. I think I might have it. Town warned to expect cuts. Legislators expect a 10% drop in state aid to towns. That's pretty special. So we're going to get a 10% cut. I wonder why they're going to cut. Well, I guess they can't cut the police force now
Plant security.
because they got to get the plant secure. So what are they going to cut? Or maybe they will cut the police force. Plant security.
Plant security. Doesn't make any
But
sense.
they'll probably cut from our schools probably.
Why am I reading this crap?
Take away from kids, because what I was trying to show you was you were telling to say how to.
Oh, the
do
teddy
that.
bear.
Okay, now the
Look at the
paper
teddy
you had-
bear.
Now look at the teddy bear. He's out of control.
The teddy bear.
I'm trying to be serious here. You had an article.
Yeah.
You had an article that was.
Well, so did Bill Abbott. He had Article 18,
Okay,
but they
well,
ripped that
I
up.
also had a Time magazine, which I don't
Time.
have. But look. Okay,
Well, it's about
the
time.
result is
Time
that,
magazine's like a
all
copy.
these tax breaks, these wonderful tax breaks that got most people who make 100,000 or less, a can of soda, or if you made 40,000 or 50,000, 20 cents on a can of soda. But so you got your tax break, but all these budget shortfalls, they now are cutting your health care, your funding for housing for the elderly, your after-school programs, your during-school programs, your T-passes for poor kids to get to school during the year, your lifeguards for your parks. 20% of Massachusetts parks are going to be closed. Rockland may sell property to raise money because it's having such a shortfall. The letter I was just reading here, town warned to expect a 10% cut. All the towns in Massachusetts, not just Plymouth, okay?
Is he
We
putting
the
you to
people,
sleep?
we the people are getting the shaft. And
Wait, wait.
no, I mean, I'm not gonna swear about it, it's just ridiculous.
Well, you know, getting the shaft is might as well have sworn, you know, what are you talking about, a shaft?
Drive shaft.
Yeah, a
They're
drive.
driving the shaft.
Yeah. So I guess there is a way to swear without swearing, huh?
Easy.
Easy. Oh, easy as
So
more.
we're talking about reading newspapers, so this is
Oh,
all
look.
newspaper. Oh, here's another
They
one.
got underwear
Boston
on
Metro.
sale.
Boston Metro, judges say the furlough plan won't ease court layoffs. So they're gonna let state workers go off on furlough so that they still have a job, but they can only work 8 months a year. But they're still gonna have the court layoffs. They're closing, because of the budget shortfalls, I had it in the paper I just closed up, they're closing 3 jails in Massachusetts, putting those prisoners into other jails. And the towns they're putting them in, of course, got the 10% decrease in state funding, so they can't afford to keep all their police on duty, so now they're gonna have overpopulated jails in residential neighborhoods with half the police force.
Not good.
Yeah, I want a tax break.
Hey, you know, it says here, Mideast Peace Talks, right here in this magazine here, the Metro Boston. It says here, Ethan Allen, we have Ethan Allen, he's gonna be my guest host while I go away for 2 weeks on a spiritual and soulful cleansing. And I will be back 2 weeks later, but he's gonna be the majority of the shows on Cellulite City Streets. And he has his own show now too, it's called Freedom Ring, and you need to tune into that, that'll be on in Plymouth very shortly. It's an hour show, it's a great show, and he talks about really some good stuff. And I was just gonna say, it says Mideast Talks and no deal in sight. Why don't they, tell me one good reason why they don't put those Mideast Peace Talks on TV, so the world can see where the truth lies.
It's the same reason that Israel will not sign up to the United Nations Convention on Human Rights.
Oh, they won't?
No.
Oh, those bastards. I can say
Well,
that.
most developed countries have signed up. I think there's 100 and maybe 170 something that have signed on. Most developed countries have signed up onto United Nations Convention on Basic Human Rights. Just, you know, don't torture people,
Right.
don't drive them from their homes and make them homeless and make them walk back and forth till they starve to death and all this and that.
Hey, walk back and
And,
forth till you stomp to death. Enough's
Yeah,
enough. Get out of here.
Israel hasn't signed up. I think the other major country that hasn't signed up is, well, it's the United States. Because I guess Henry Kissinger has 100 counts that they're trying to file on him for his part in Vietnam. And they don't want
Really?
Henry
Didn't he win a
Kissinger,
Nobel Peace Prize?
they don't want Henry Kissinger to be taken to court for the parts that he
Yeah.
played in Vietnam.
But was he a Nobel
And
Peace Prize winner?
That you can find, I found that in the newspapers, by the way, it's in the newspaper, but you gotta read more than one newspaper, and you gotta read, even though you read about a particular subject, different reporters will see it different ways, and their newspapers may allow them to report it a different way, because many newspapers will not report certain things. I'm sure, I don't care where you are on this political spectrum, where you think you are, okay, I'm sure you can see, when you look at the Boston Herald, that it's total, it might as well be an Inquirer. It's nothing but right-wing propaganda, far-right propaganda. It's just, it's not even entertainment. It's bogus. But anyways, I'm sure you can see when you look at that and you look at the Boston Globe side by side, or the side by side with the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal, you can see that papers will report things very differently if you're careful to read them.
Yeah.
And that way you don't believe necessarily.
Hey, I'm not
but
gone yet on my
get your
sojourn for
opinion.
crying out loud. Sheesh.
Oh, well, you were quiet over there.
I asked you about 9 questions.
Okay, Rockland may sell properties. I go off, I'm telling you, it's not right. It's just not right.
Like
No,
talking
it's-
to a wall.
What I don't get is,
Oh, Mr. Wall.
it's your children. That's all you gotta know.
That's all you got to know. Look at this guy.
He looks like you. Well, he's got a little more, you know.
A little more hip.
Looking at the face of
He's got,
inexplicable
he's got, big,
evil.
got a longer forehead, I think, than me. Oh, look, bras are on sale. See his look, his disgusted look.
disgusted.
Oh, custard bars are on sale. Oh, look, I get my teeth cleaned. Oh, it's right next to the place where the priest raped the children. The same story.
Oh,
You get custard
Nixon
pies.
lashes out at missing.
Manny? What? How old's that paper? Nixon? That's an old one. Yeah, you got to put that one aside on that one.
February 21st. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
that old.
1972.
No, 2002.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, it's one thing to read the newspapers, Ethan, but it's another thing to keep them forever.
Collect them, collect them.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what do I got this in here for?
Oh, my God.
Hey, what about those Oscars, huh? How about that Monsters Ball? You know what? When they're giving out,
What? You read, I'll have, Ethan doesn't swear, but it's in the paper, you gotta read it. It's a Metro paper.
all right.
You gotta read this article, read it all the way through. He doesn't like to read stuff like this. He doesn't like to swear because he's a very religious
Oh, come on, give me
sort.
that thing.
And-
I'm not
oh, here we
well,
go.
I am religious. Well, I'm not
Okay.
religious. I
All right.
just
You
believe.
find it then. That one right
Penis Museum seeks grants from humans.
there. Penis Museum seeks grants from humans.
You know, I think that's pretty interesting that you picked that out of here. But let me just go on.
The whole page is all sex.
According to Ananova.com, a penis museum in Iceland is appealing for a human donation.
Are you gonna give your penis to them? Are
He
you?
is seeking a human penis to add to his collection of 143 phalluses.
That's a fallacy. Oh, go ahead. He says he now has the promise of a human specimen after death, but the collection will await its first Homo sapien member. The former high school history teacher built the museum in 1997. History teacher? Is he nuts? Penis museum? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? What is that? Is that a town?
You know, you get. I don't
I gotta read
where
my
do you
paper.
find these papers? Women's sex fiend may be man in drag.
Well, in that case, then he needs to give his penis to
A
the museum.
woman who has been trying to drag men into bushes for sex could be a man in drag. Must be an awful weak man if he's having a hard time dragging a man into a bush for sex.
The Penis Museum in Iceland. That's a good one.
Oh,
That's too much. That one.
which one?
That one. I mean, just there.
Oh, you find him. Oh, the sisterhood. Romney, let me see, what's this guy? Joe Fitzgerald.
Yeah,
Says
he's in there.
Romney is a venture capitalist.
No kidding.
Swift comes from a working class family. Romney has a sense of entitlement. He can just slip into Massachusetts and claim it as his own. Funny, there's no memory here of how people's noses got out of joint when Hillary Clinton opted to dig her nails into New York. It is kind of weird. They did make a big blowout, big deal out of it. And this guy
What's
moves
that?
up here. Romney's just moved up here out of Utah. Nobody said a word. But remember when Hillary came there, it was like how she could have nerve to even think
Yeah, that's
of
true.
it.
Yeah, that's true. How could she think of even moving to New York and running? But she lived there for a while, didn't she? Well, Clinton's now in Harlem. Guess he fits in right there. Fits in very well over there, I guess, in Harlem. Because of his, big,
So Romney's perfect for the job, it says here. He's a target, makes him a target because he's a happily married, successful in his work, active in his faith, solidly grounded in values that enable him to know what he believes.
In other words, he's gonna screw the people like every other friggin' politician.
Well, he did say he's going to support another tax break when Massachusetts, let's not even talk about it, the rest of the country is reeling in huge budget deficits, which we just were discussing. We're having trouble with everything, and everybody knows it. Everybody already knows before we had the breaks what shape the schools were in. Let's just talk about Plymouth schools. I won't talk about Taunton. I just moved from Taunton. The Taunton schools, it's unbelievable. The bathrooms are falling, the toilets are falling off the walls in the Taunton schools.
Jesus.
It's terrible. I can't even believe they take money from the kids. And they do it unashamedly. And they give it to the richest people in the country. And they say, yeah, we're giving it. You know, the rich only pay 25% of the tax break, the top 1%. They only pay 25% of the taxes, but they got 35% of the tax break. Isn't that a little odd?
Yeah. Oh, you listen to Howie Carr?
Yes, I do.
You mean that question got through to you?
Well,
What happened
it's
to
hard
being the
It's
wall?
hard to talk back at him because he ain't there to shut up. He doesn't hear me.
Oh yeah, he's a fat bastard, just like they call him. He's a nobody. He was talking about cigarette smoke and
Oh.
stuff, and he was saying that how it doesn't hurt. Secondhand smoke doesn't hurt you.
Oh, you remember how Cheney wouldn't release his? I love the newspaper. I'm not listening to you. Is that thing on?
Is this thing on?
What'd you say?
Oh, nothing.
No, you have my rapt attention. Speak up.
Wrapped. Where did you come up with that word?
Well, I was listening to some earlier.
Yeah, that was good. What you do. You got to listen to Martin Luther King tribute. He reads one of his sermons. You should do more of that. I think that's good.
Well, I would like to look at some Robert Kennedy and John Kennedy stuff. Martin Luther King was
I don't know, Martin Luther
You know,
King.
Martin Luther King was a prophet, really. Seek his stuff
Yeah,
out. Go
Tell him
to
where to go. Yeah, tell him to read
go
about the
to our
speeches.
Borders, and Borders has some wonderful tapes. But
Go to the
I just-
border.
Borders, the
Oh,
bookstore.
it sound like a Palestinian now.
I
Go to the
can't
border.
advertise, no
Take
advertising,
this
sorry.
bomb, son.
I'm just saying that's where you can find them. Some wonderful information on Martin Luther King. He's given me a lot of strength in
Hey,
this
oh,
difficult
yeah.
time.
Did you hear about I can't believe that it's a girdle bomber? Yeah, it's right here. I can't believe it's a girdle bomber. It's in Israel. Yeah, some Arab went into Israeli area with that. No, I'm just kidding.
He's making all this up.
Well, that's what they do,
You know what I like?
right?
Is
This
the
is what
Bush,
they do, right?
is the Bush energy plan. Now they had to sue him to get him to release his stuff.
The sea light sea streets.
A woman is a woman, but a cigar is a cigar. And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets. How y'all doing? Yeah. Doing fine, I hope. Here we are in historic Plymouth, Massachusetts. Historic Plymouth, Massachusetts. And they want to go to a mayoral government. Well, as Lord Mayor, am I Lord Mayor? I'm not Lord Mayor yet. But if I was a Lord Mayor, write me in as Lord Mayor. We need to go around the political gerrymandering, the he said, she said, or the lies that go on in the political debating rooms, in the back rooms, in the private rooms, in the private chat rooms of political pandering to big business, personal greed. We need to bring back government to the people, we the people. And this is Mark, and this is live from the bunker, because there's a war out there. World Talk Radio, live from the bunker. As Lord Mayor, if I made a decision, I would act upon it immediately. As Lord Mayor, I would do the right thing. I would get potassium iodide into every medicine cabinet in Plymouth, Massachusetts on this historical day of March 8th, 2002. The Select Board of Plymouth, Massachusetts, or any town in America. This happens across America from sea to shining sea, from Purple Mountain Majesty. The Select Board debated whether or not they wanted potassium iodide for the people of Plymouth, Massachusetts. For 4 years, they debated. They finally agreed and accepted the fact that 10,000 concerned scientists around the world agree that potassium iodide is the most important medicine that you can have in your medicine cabinet in case there's a nuclear reactor, managerial or technological accident, or terrorist act. 120 countries worldwide have potassium iodide for their citizens, and some of the poorest countries in the world, like Chechnya, has potassium iodide for their citizens. Get real as Lord Mayor. I would get potassium iodide into every medicine cabinet in Plymouth, Massachusetts, as well as every schoolroom in Plymouth, Massachusetts. The selectmen debated this for 4 years. They finally took the recommendations that Tommy Thompson, the federal health inspector, had advocated potassium iodide and get it for free. And Dr. Rushforth said, yes, we do need it, finally, he said, after 4 years. And Kenny Tavares said, yes, finally, we do need to get potassium iodide. And Chris Lombard said, yes, we do need to get potassium iodide. And Malaguti on a leash and Quintal on a leash also barked in their vote. It took them 4 years to make that decision. 4 long, arduous years for the public health and safety of the people in Plymouth, Massachusetts. As Lord Mayor, I would make sure we'd get potassium iodide now in the medicine cabinets, in the schoolrooms, in any town in America. They don't want to go to a mayoral government because one man will make decisions on his own. Well, as you have it now, you have a board of selectmen and you have town meeting members that come to an agreement and then don't act upon their agreement, don't act upon their decision, do not act and get potassium iodide. Saying it and doing it are two different things. Is this on? Have to keep the politicians happy. Let me just say something about Richard Cohn. He's running for selectman. He's a man of his convictions. He was at a town meeting the other day, and a town meeting member said to him, "Don't tell your true feelings, because you'll lose votes." And Richard Cohn says, no, that isn't what I'm about. I will tell my true feelings, even if it means losing votes. That's not a politician. That's a human being for the people. You want someone straightforward. Am I endorsing Richard Cohn? No. Am I telling you something about his attributes that I admire? Yes. Do most politicians lie? Yes. Then when they get in, then they do the opposite, don't they? Just like George Bush. Just like every president of the United States ever. And this is Mark, and this is live from the bunker, because there's a war going on out there in America, anytown USA, and that war is between us, the people, we the people, and they, the government. The democracy is a hypocrisy. We are the democracy, they are the hypocrisy and aristocracy. I have to admire, I'm not endorsing anybody here. This isn't a political commercial at all. I am not endorsing Richard Cohn for selectman. I endorse nobody. I endorse me for mayor. Write-in, mayor. That's a joke. You really think I'd be mayor? Imagine if I was mayor. I'd have a parade every day, yeah. And I'd have the gay chorus from Boston, too, yeah. And they could sing, I love a parade, la 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 la. Well, who doesn't? And what? Gay people don't? Of course they like parades. Sheesh. Hi, Mark, out there. Hi, Mark, how are you? Frank. Congratulations to Rodney Finley, hero, for being elected town meeting member, volunteer fireman. On March 8th, 2002, Richard Cohn, town meeting member, is putting in a motion or an article or something such thing. You figure it out. He's putting in a motion at town meeting to reinstate the call firefighters, the volunteer firefighters, because we need them. They're willing to risk their lives to protect the health and safety of the public in case there's a nuclear accident or other such disaster, and they will die in that debacle, that firestorm, that radioactive mess. Close down nuclear power plant now. Larry Favor says it's perfectly safe. No, it's not, Larry Favor, scientist, and you know it. Don't fool the public any longer. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission of the federal government came out and admitted that nuclear power plants cannot withstand a jetliner air crash. Get real, get me, it pays. As Lord Mayor, I would create jobs and affordable housing. Write me in as Lord Mayor. I would get any Plymouth resident who needed a job. Because unemployment of our citizenship and unemployment of our citizens should not be tolerated. Willful employment is just as much as a basic birthright as affordable housing. People in Plymouth, Massachusetts, hometown America, or any town America, cannot afford the high-priced homes that millionaire corporations build on luxurious golf course lands. The big business needs to get out of real estate, and we need affordable housing for the people in Plymouth, Massachusetts, so families can realize the American dream. And as a Lord Mayor, I would set up a special mortgage system that I would work out with the state and federal government to purchase open space in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and to build affordable single-dwelling homes so Plymouthians who are young families can have a life without strife, can have a life living in a home rather than a cave stacked on top of each other. Americans need single family affordable home dwellings. And that's what I would do as Lord Mayor. Write me in as Lord Mayor, and we will get affordable housing for the people of Plymouth, Massachusetts. Like I said, a select board government and a town meeting government, they say, oh, it's, if you have a mayoral government, it's one person is making that decision. Well, the town meeting members make a decision, they come to a decision with the select board, they finally come to a final decision about potassium iodide and say, yes, we need it, after 4 years of debating. Where is it? Just because they made a decision, where is it? Let's see the money. You know what I mean? Let's see the cooked bird. You can talk about baking that communal stuffed turkey to feed the masses all you want, but if you don't come through, you are the asses. And this is Mark, and this is Real Talk Radio from the bunker, because there's a war going on out there. And that war is between us, the American people, and they, the U.S. government, local government, state government, federal government. You need to elect people, human beings, not professional politicians who out and out lie at town meetings. Referring to Richard Cohn, a town meeting member had mentioned to Richard Cohn and said, lie to the public, Richard Cohn, running for selectman. Lie, Richard Cohn, because you're going to lose votes otherwise. Is that what you want your town meeting members to advocate, lying to the American public? Richard Cohn says, no, I'm not going to lie. This is who I am, and people should know what I stand for. And we need to start electing people on what they truly are, human beings, and not as political, greedy, self-serving egomaniacs that have vested interests in big business, etc. As Lord Mayor, as a write-in Lord Mayor, I'd make sure we'd have Homeland Security in Plymouth, Massachusetts. When the federal government is cutting back Homeland Security on all nuclear power plants, and David Tarantino came out in the Old Colony Memorial. He's the public relations person for Energy Pilgrim Plant in Plymouth, Massachusetts, Anytown, USA. Are you following this? Am I being precise enough, concise enough, to the point enough? David Tarantino, public relations person, said in the paper, I quote, having the National Guard security force, by not having it on the plant, does not make a difference with security at Pilgrim. As Lord Mayor, I would act quick and fast as a jaguar and get Homeland Security around that Pilgrim plant. I would reenact a proclamation that will dictate to Pilgrim plant owners that we want the plant closed down for good within 1 year, because an industry that consistently creates deadly hazardous waste that remains radioactive and remains a health threat to the public for 20,000 years, we need to shut it down, because they're just creating more and more of that deadly waste. Post haste, close it down. Don't waste people's lives in case there's a meltdown by a managerial or technological error and terrorist acts. George Bush's 2002 Union of the Addresses speech said that they have found American nuclear power plant diagrams in Al-Qaeda caves. Isn't that clear enough for you all? Don't stall. Close it down so we may all be safe once and for all. As Lord Mayor, I would get that shut down to protect the health, land, security, and employment of the future of Plymouth, Massachusetts, Anytown, America. and the 1,000 people and the 1,000 people that lose their jobs at the nuclear power plant because of the shutdown, as Lord Mayor, I would find them all jobs. They would not be left in the lurch. This isn't the Addams Family. This ain't no thing. This is reality. This is no SpongeBob SquarePants TV cartoon show. We have a cartoon president. While world strife is all around, lives are being lost, and he watches the Super Bowl game and eats pretzels. Is that a president? That's a cartoon president. As Lord Mayor of any town, USA, they should take the reins and consistently and persistently work on these problems, persevere on these problems, and solve these health safety issues that concern the public's health and safety, and get the job done, and get it done now. As Lord Mayor, right in Lord Mayor, I will protect the health of the youngest citizens, our children. As Lord Mayor, I would use the free services that local and state and federal government offers us, like the free air quality tests for the schools and other institutions. It's a free service, otherwise costing $10,000. Why wouldn't a government, why wouldn't the select board, why wouldn't the town meeting members, why wouldn't Richard O'Keefe, health inspector, ask for these free air quality tests to test the air quality in the schools that are certainly poisoning the youth and adults that teach in them? Nathaniel Morton Elementary School, right over here. Nathaniel Morton Elementary School. Nathaniel Morton Elementary School has bad air quality. Two state health tests have reported this, because there's no local exhaust in the building. It's causing chronic illnesses for life and giving children illnesses more and more in each passing day, because there's no local exhaust system that exists in the building. That sign, that do not enter sign, should be posted on that school. Kids will continue to get sick because Corey Holmes of the Air Quality Division State Health Department, who did the original air testing, said that it was the worst buildings he's tested air quality in. 200 buildings tested. As I was Lord Mayor, I would close down that building and get a local exhaust system in the building. Don't poison the children anymore. And you can be sure, if there was an air quality in the town hall here, and there was no local exhaust in the building, and there were a few people in there that had filed lawsuits against the town because of the bad air quality, with medical records to back it up and doctors' professional statements stating such, that it was because of the bad air quality, because there's no local exhaust system in the building, according to Corey Holmes of the State Health Department, and they had lawsuits going on. You can be sure there'd be a local exhaust system in that building, but yet in Nathaniel Morton Elementary School, 3 or 4 teachers have lawsuits, have chronic illnesses for life where they have to take medication for life. The illnesses only get worse, and still they allow it to stay open. Is this on? So as Lord Mayor, I would get a local exhaust system at Nathaniel Morton Elementary School. As Lord Mayor, I would protect the health and safety of the children on school buses. The federal government has mandated seatbelts and shoulder restraints on all school buses by the year 2008. But they said they'll leave it up to state government to enact seatbelts and shoulder restraints on school buses. So the state government turns around and passes the buck to the local government here in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Richard O'Keefe, health inspector, has the right that he could mandate seatbelts and shoulder restraints on school buses. And he said to me, well, why wouldn't anyone want to do that, Mark? Of course you need seatbelts on school buses, shoulder restraints. And he said to me, Mr. Richard O'Keefe, he said to me, Mark, but I can't just say do it. And I said, oh, yes, you can. And he says, well, where does that say that in my job description as a health inspector? And I said, in your job description, it says you must protect the safety and health of the public. Well, aren't the children the public? And he says, well, I just can't go into anybody's house, Mark, and go in their refrigerator and say, hey, you got bad food in here. And I said, yes, you can if the Department of Social Services asks you to go in there. And he said to me, Richard O'Keefe, health inspector, he says, well, Mark, that's because children are involved. And I said to Mr. Richard O'Keefe, health inspector, when it comes to seatbelts and shoulder restraints on school buses, children are involved. So as Lord Mayor, I would enact and mandate seatbelts and shoulder restraints on school buses. I'm not even going to go into the ridiculous arguments that say that they're hard to unbuckle and all this stuff. That's a lot of crap, and the auto industry tried that in the 60s to try to keep seatbelts off vehicles because they didn't want to pay for the price of installing them, when in fact they knew they saved lives. And that's an old, ridiculous argument that they're going to have a hard time unbuckling them. Federal government did highway crash tests with buses. A 25-mile-per-hour front impact crash can cause head injuries, neck injuries, and death. And if one child dies on a school bus, then not only Laidlaw will be sued, but the town of Plymouth will be sued, and we don't need any more lawsuits in the town. And I would do the right thing immediately and order Laidlaw to stop skirting the issue and get seatbelts and shoulder restraints on the school buses. It's their equipment. They're bettering their equipment. They're not living up to their contractual agreement or busing out children in a safe manner. And that needs to stop now. Well, gotta take a break. My cigar's out. And I will be right back. Go get yourself. And I'm back, and this is World Talk Radio from the bunker. And I'm Mark, and you're you. Aren't you glad about that? Have you been thinking about what I've been telling you? That you need to elect people and not politicians? I can't believe a town meeting member said that you shouldn't really stand up for what you believe because you're going to lose votes. Imagine that. As Lord Mayor, I would raise money very easily. As Lord Mayor, I would take the burden of taxes off the Plymouth homeowner and put it on the tourists. As Lord Mayor, I would raise the price of an alcoholic drink in every bar and restaurant in Plymouth, Massachusetts by 25 cents. That alone would raise $5 million a year. I would raise hotel tax by $1. Haven't the hotels in Plymouth, Massachusetts got the cream off the butter for much too long? Isn't it time they pay back a little bit rather than on the shoulders of taxpayers, homeowners? The tourists should pay for the schools and the brunt of raising tax money. The financial responsibility must be part of the tourism. As Lord Mayor, I would not allow a brand new school, middle school, to have a $2 million problem. And they knew about it all along. The building inspector should have caught that, and he needs to be fired. The Board of Selectmen knew about it. The superintendent of schools knew about it. They need to be fired. You cannot have a system where no one takes responsibility. Nobody makes a decision, and you want a mayor that will make a decision. Boy, that'll be change, huh? Yeah, someone that actually makes a decision and acts upon it, rather than the Board of Selectmen who make a decision and then don't act upon it. They say, oh, in order to be a Lord Mayor, Mark, you have to have all sorts of degrees and stuff. No, you don't. Oh, you have to be managerial smart. No, you don't. You have to have common sense, and you can't teach common sense. And evidently, the majority of the politicians in this town or any town in America do not have common sense. Is this on? As Lord Mayor, I would make Memorial Hall a money-making proposition. I would have a new function in there every day of the week. I would internationally advertise Plymouth as America's hometown, where it all began. I would advertise in Germany, China. The Chamber of Commerce isn't doing their job. They're lackadaisical, sitting on their whims and their fancies. And this whole idea of getting a Thanksgiving parade is all good and dandy, but we need to advertise internationally that Plymouth, America's hometown, is open up to anybody that wants to come visit, and use Memorial Hall as the meeting edifice of the world. Get some world leaders to come to Memorial Hall. That's what I would do. I would make Memorial Hall a shrine for democracy and the American way worldwide. All you'd have to do is put some advertising out there, people. Is this on? A historical edifice paid for to refurbished by American Plymouth and Massachusetts taxpayers, when they were all the politicians were saying it wasn't taxpayers' money. Well, it was private funds. Well, I got news for you, folks. The majority of the money that was used to fix Memorial Hall was taxpayers' money. Same old thing, lie to the public and then do something else. When are you gonna wake up? The possibilities to explore multiple ways to economically revive the community of Plymouth, Massachusetts is innumerable. We must keep up with the historical flavor of the town, such as creating a better tourism package, the historical significance of the town, of Plymouth, let freedom ring in Memorial Hall all over the world. I would create a booming tourist attraction and get the word out that Plymouth, Massachusetts is the origin of the best democracy in the world. And you can experience this historical idea. So come to the historical town of Plymouth, Massachusetts, America's hometown, and get a little bit of the original Americana, the greatness of America and America's hometown. Plymouth is ripe for the tourist trade. Don't let that rot on the vine. You need to vote in new blood. You need to vote in real people. It's real people like Rodney Finley, volunteer firemen, that'll make a difference. It's real people like Richard Cohn, running for selectman, would make a difference. And if all my fans out there went out and voted for Richard Cohn and write me in as mayor, even in this selectman's voting poll booth on May 11th, write me in as mayor to show everyone that yes, we do need a Lord Mayor, that we do need a people's person that will do good for the people. As mayor, I would call every individual in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and ask them how they felt about the Community Preservation Act, for instance, which is a tax. Is that what we need, is another tax? I don't think so. On the homeowner, I don't think so. Average home is $200,000 in Plymouth, Massachusetts. You'll be paying an extra $300 a year or more in taxes because of this community preservation tax. So vote no against that. Call a tax for what it is. It's not an act, it's a tax. You need to vote in real people like Richard Cohn, selectman, because we've had squares in the public trust fund long enough. We've had squares in the public trust funds long enough. Now you need a cone, someone that is well-rounded, someone that will put a wedge between scallywag politicians and the people, and guess what? The people will win. People take things too lightly. Well, you shouldn't, or else there's going to be a blight in Plymouth, Massachusetts, or any town in America. As Lord Mayor, I would realize the importance of protecting our water supply. All across this beautiful land, from sea to shining sea, there are droughts spread throughout America. In our neighboring state, Maine, United States, they have a drought where 58,000 people are without water. 58,000 people have their wells gone dry because of the drought. We must guarantee that our water supply is solvent and clean. As Lord Mayor of America's hometown, I would protect our aquifer and to ensure that our water supply remains solvent and clean. I would not supply water to other towns. We need to keep our aquifer for ourselves, because in these days of drought, we need every drop of precious water that we can save. And we must stop building golf courses that use gallons upon gallons of water. We must limit and stop altogether any more building of golf courses in America's hometown, so we may protect our aquifer. Our precious source of all is water. Without water, we have no town. Go play golf somewhere else. You got 14 golf courses already. How many do you need? Indeed. Otherwise, you won't have water to water the organic seed, and everything dies. I don't lie. We'll all be fried. And then all the select board and town meeting members will sigh because they didn't do the right thing and protect our aquifer by limiting and stopping all golf courses in the future, or sharing our water with other communities. Likewise, as protecting the water supply, that you also need to test the water supply to make sure it's potable, palatable, drinkable. Not only do we need to test our water supply, aquifer, 3 times yearly, we need to check the water supply in all the schools systems 3 times yearly. Our children are our most precious resource. Do not allow them to breathe bad air or drink bad water. We must use the free services that the state and federal government has afforded us to check the air and water quality in the schools and other institutions, because it is the job of government to protect the health and safety of its citizens, comrades, and that's not happening, comrades. Are you with me, comrades? This is Mark from the bunker, and there's a war going on out there. Anyway, a healthy environment of air, water, and land makes for a healthy citizen, and a healthy citizen is more productive and responsible and clear-headed thinking. So as Lord Mayor, I will protect the air, water, and land. And I would. As it is now, you have a dictator form of government. You don't have a mayoral government. You don't have a town meeting government. You don't have a select board government. You have a dictator government. Town moderator Stephen Trifoletti takes an article that was proposed to town meeting members to vote on to close the nuclear power plant temporarily so we can get security measures in our homeland security. And Trifoletti rips it up and throws it in the barrel. He is the sole voice. He is the sole vote. Why elect town meeting members then? Why have a select board then? Richard O'Keefe, health inspector, should be on top of this. He's hiding in a closet somewhere, drinking lemonade. Whether an article that is proposed, whether or not people will vote yes or no, it still needs to be heard. People of Plymouth, town meeting members need articles to be heard on important issues. You don't want one man to decide, no, we don't want we don't want Article 18. These are crucial safety issues that need to be addressed. And one man, town moderator Stephen, triple up on the confetti. This ain't no parade, Trifoletti, confetti, triple up on the confetti. This is serious business. This is terrorism. This is managerial and technological error. This is a flawed nuclear power industry. A disaster waiting to happen. We must get on the Mayflower and sail back to the freedoms that we once searched for. But King Steve triple up on the confetti, thinks it's a big parade. His parade. You can't have a Thanksgiving parade if the nuclear power plant is struck by a terrorist act. You can't have a Thanksgiving parade if the nuclear power plant managerial or technological error melts it down and we have to evacuate for 1,000 miles around. I disagree, and so do a lot of other people disagree with town moderator Stephen, triple up on the confetti. Thanks, Murray. For cigars. You cannot stop town meeting members from voting on our homeland security, polluting our social democracy, and spoiling its purity. We are a society in need of sobriety. We in Plymouth do not have a town meeting government. We in Plymouth have a dictatorship, and the sooner you realize this, the sooner we can get public safety issues to town meeting members and bring back the democratic process to we the people. Because I personally believe if stricter safety measures are not implemented at the energy plant, then I dare say, comrades, there's going to be a problem. The nuclear clock's ticking and is running out of time. If terrorists attack Entergy, then they're not, and then for them not to put this Article 18 to the voters, because I think the voters would say close down this Pilgrim plant temporarily to get safer safety measures in there for our homeland security, for our Holy Land. Bush is in the Mideast, urging Arafat and Ariel Sharon to come to a peace agreement, urging them, world news, front page, every day, 18 people dead on this side, Arab side, 18 people dead on the Jewish side. Colin Powder Keg is over there in Israel trying to negotiate a Mideast peace talks between those two in the Mideast. Why isn't he in Afghanistan looking for peace in our war? For God's sakes, we must have an even shake. Although the swan is pretty, we need the drake. Any community should have the right to close down any facility that they deem is unhealthy and potentially dangerous to the safety of the public. And that's the nuclear power plant. And when a nuclear power plant is struck by a terrorist attack, then they'll shut them all down. It's putting the horse behind the cart. That's not art. So let's start and try to impart to these politicians that they need to listen to we the people and get the job done now. And just making decisions about potassium iodide and saying, yes, we're going to get it and all that. Well, where is it? Doesn't cut the mustard. Doesn't cut the custard. The American pie is a lie. Democracy is dead. It died. And then the people get, and then the government starts the war, and then we fry. They have their bunkers. And we have nothing. Hi, this is Mark, and I'll tell you what's going on. We were at the Nuclear Forum the other day, April 21st, 2002, at the North Plymouth High School in Plymouth, Massachusetts, Anytown, America. They had representatives from the Massachusetts State House of Congress there, Representative Delahunt, who I like to call Representative Delachump, because the day after that they debated on whether or not to get the nuclear fuel rods out of Plymouth, Representative Delachump was in Venezuela advocating that President Chavez should still be president. Isn't it time we realize that the United States government has been promoting regimes and dictatorships in other countries against the will of the people of those countries? Where do you think all this terrorism comes from America? And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets, and we're in historic Plymouth, Massachusetts, Anytown, America. And if you want to know what's going on, just watch City Lights, City Streets live from the bunker, because there's a war going on, and the war is against the people versus the government, the people and government. And we are now going out to Carver, Plymouth, Kingston, Plimpton, Halifax, Chicago, and Riverdale, New York. And if you want a copy of this tape, set your VCR on record and send this out to a friend in another town or another state. Get the word out. We the people, they're the evil in the government. And like I said, Representative Delachump, who is a representative in Massachusetts, what the hell is he doing in Venezuela with other representatives trying to get a dictatorship regime in Venezuela against the wishes of the people? They are going against the majority of people in Venezuela. They're putting in dictatorship regimes, and that's why you have the problem that you have today in America, because America supports dictatorships. America is an imperialistic government for the benefit of corporations, and when are you going to see that? And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets, live from the bunker. And during that nuclear forum, where in North Plymouth High School, on the date of the 21st of April 2002, which was a Sunday afternoon, was hardly ever advertised. The students of that school weren't even notified that such a forum was going to take place, which was to protect and to secure the safety of the nuclear power plant in Plymouth, Massachusetts, when Homeland Security has been cut back. And Delahunt, Representative Delachump, used the forum as a political catapult, and he made jokes. And people at that forum, the citizens of Plymouth, Massachusetts, were allowed to make a public statement or a question in a 2-minute time period on such a convoluted issue. And they had a timekeeper who was a woman, had to be 25 years old, which was the secretary or assistant of Representative Delachump, probably his mistress as well. She had this alarm clock, see, and that when 2 minutes was up, when you finished public speaking, when 2 minutes was up, this alarm clock that she had would go off. Well, in fact, if you watch the forum, that alarm clock went off after 30 seconds when someone was speaking, or 40 seconds when someone was speaking, because Delachump's secretary, mistress, was using an alarm clock that they use in their bedroom to have laissez-faire sex. So maybe they should use a stopwatch. It only costs $2. And if the United States government representatives cannot keep accurate time with the 2-minute public speaking, well, how the hell can they protect us? And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets, and Uncle Sam has deserted us. And we'll be right back. And here we have, in Plymouth, Massachusetts, here he is. Oh, there he is. That's Richard O'Keefe, actually, in that car right there. That's Richard O'Keefe. Yeah, Richard O'Keefe. He's the health inspector of Plymouth, Massachusetts, and he's driving around in a $25,000 automobile, you see. And the thing is, if I was elected Mark Lord write-in mayor, I would not have town officials driving around in $25,000 automobiles that get 20 miles to the gallon. I'd get them Volkswagens to get 40 miles to the gallon. What's going on here? In Boston, Massachusetts, they are selling off the representatives' furniture and office desks and stuff. And they just auctioned off SUVs, these giant cars that use a humongous amount of gas, and they've raised $200,000, and all the liberals and conservatives are saying, don't auction off the representatives' stuff to meet the budget, because that's not right. Well, why not? If I have to drive around in a 10-year-old car, if most people have to drive around in 5-year-old cars, well, the representatives should be driving around on fuel efficiency cars. And what gives them the right to have $2,000 sofas in their office? And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets. And we need to bring the government back to the people. To go into any public office, any town in America, you'll see $250 office chairs. You'll see the state-of-the-art computer equipment. You'll see the state-of-the-art furniture. You'll see desks made out of oak and mahogany. What's going on here? And they're squawking, all the liberals and conservatives are like, it's a one-party system, America. And they're talking about, why should we sell off the representatives' furniture and stuff? That's awful. Well, let them sit on a regular fold-up chair for $5.99 at Kmart. Get real. Isn't government about the people and about fiscal responsibility rather than opulent lifestyles? And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets. And I had Larry Favor. Larry Favor was saying, Mike, you have to draw your priorities here. In other words, what's important? Well, what's important is get seatbelts on school buses. What about that, seatbelts on school buses, huh? The people in Newton, it's been 1 year since those children in Newton were driving on a bus. It was a tour bus, but nevertheless, it should have seatbelts on it. It flipped over and killed 4 kids. The health inspector of Plymouth, Massachusetts happened to know one of those families of the Newton child that died on that touring bus. And I said to him, don't you think that we should have seatbelts on school buses? And he says, of course, Mark. And I said, well, why don't you implement them? And he says to me, Richard O'Keefe of Plymouth, Massachusetts says to me, well, Mark, that is not in my job description to protect and to put seatbelts on school buses. And I said to him, Mr. Richard O'Keefe, health inspector of Plymouth, Massachusetts, I said, surely you believe that there should be seatbelts on school buses? And he said, yes, but it's not in my jurisdiction. And he said to me, I can't just go into someone's home and say there's rotten food in the refrigerator. And I said, oh, yes, you can if Department of Social Services sent you in there. And he said, well, in that case, Mark, children are involved. And I said, Mr. Richard O'Keefe, when it comes to school buses, children are involved. Is this thing on? And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets, live from the bunker. There's a war going on out there, and we're happy to welcome Carver, Massachusetts, Plymouth, Massachusetts to the viewing area, Kingston, Massachusetts to the viewing area, Chicago to the viewing area, Riverdale, New York to the viewing area. And I urge all you people to videotape this show and put it in any town in America, because the word has got to get out. Bush has a 78% approval rating. By whom? That's what I like to know. Historians, yes, historians. Historians are coming out right now and saying that Bush is one of the worst presidents ever, and he'll go down in this history as so. Hitler had an 89% approval rating. Is this thing on? Even Hitler's family loved him, and he loved them. Is this on? And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets, and we're broadcasting live from the bunker in historic Plymouth, Massachusetts. Any town in America, and we'll be right back. Hi, how are you? Imagine a world where you are told what to think. This remarkable program
examines real cases in history. Students learn how fear and complacency can persuade people to give up basic freedoms. Freedom is not just a right, it's a responsibility. This is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets. It says, imagine a world where you are told what to think. This is what fascism is. It says, imagine a world what you were told what to think. Well, didn't Attorney General John Ashcroft say that if you're not with us, then you're against us? Didn't he say that? Is that not fascism? It says fascism is a world where you are told what to think. That's what fascism is. It's a world where you are told what to think. Didn't Attorney General John Ashcroft say, if you're not for us, you're against us, and if you're for peace and against the war, then you are aiding the terrorists and you are a terrorist? Isn't that fascism? Hello, is this thing on? It says, this is a videotape that you can get at a teacher's library, and you can get it on fascism. You see, you can get it on fascism. And it says here, fascism is a videotape you can get with a teacher's videotape that you can order for $29.95. And what they say fascism is it says, imagine a world where you are told what to think. This remarkable program examines real cases in history. Students learn how fear and complacency can persuade people to give up their basic freedoms. Well, that's exactly what's happening in America, and if you don't see that, you got your head up your ass. What about the anti-terrorist law? When the World Trade Towers blew up, they passed the anti-terrorist law. Again, the anti-terrorist law says that the government can go into your home, any town in America, any person in America, without a search warrant, take you out of your home, try you in a secret court without a lawyer, and put you away for life, no questions asked. That's the anti-terrorist law. And that's fascism. They tell you what to think, and you know that ain't right. We have to fight back against this fascism whenever we can, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up taking me out. But you know something? You can never stop truth, because truth always wins out over evil, because if evil won out, then we would have been extinguished long before now. And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets, and we'll be right back. Go get yourself a sandwich. People say, oh, Mark, you swear too much. Oh, Mark, you know, you're missing the point. If I didn't swear, you'd say I scream too much. If I didn't scream too much, you'd say I'm not articulate enough. If I dressed right and I spoke right, you'd say I wasn't dressed right. That's fascism, to say, oh, he swears too much. Well, if swearing is wrong, then get it right the fuck out of the dictionary, you assholes. And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets. And like I said, if you want us to be broadcast in your town, any town in America, you can write me at P.O. Box 1503, Manamet, Massachusetts 02345. Or you can tape this and send it to any friend in any town, America, USA, or the world, and get the truth out, because our freedoms are being taken away, and no one's speaking up against it. You thought the McCarthy era was bad. You think communism is bad. You think socialism is bad. Let me tell you, fascism is the worst. Tells you what to think, puts fear into you. For instance, Bush has cut back on nuclear power security, even though on his 2002 State of the Union address he said, we have found, quote, fucking quote, we have found
American nuclear power plant diagrams in Al-Qaeda caves. Unquote. And he cuts back on nuclear security. Is this on? He cuts back on Homeland Security. Is this on? Senator Byrd, who's an old guy, he says he's appalled at how the Homeland Security is cut back, and that's a fact. And why should it be cut back? $500 billion is spent on the military. Why isn't that spent on a public transportation system? So we don't have to rely on foreign oil. So Americans don't have to buy SUVs. So Americans don't have to buy cars to get to work. And where is the public transportation system there? $500 billion on bombs. That's ridiculous. Imperialistic pigs they are, fascist pigs. Della Trump going to Venezuela, setting up regimes that are against the people's wishes in Venezuela, when he should be fixing a nuclear power plant security here. This is all a bunch of crap. Congress never worked for you. They never will unless you write in Lord Mayors, Mark Lord Mayor, or in any town in America, get real people in there and get real. And this is Mark, and this is We'll Talk Radio from the bunker, because there's a war going on out there. It's us against them. We the people, they the government, and we need to wrestle back government so that we may have a say, so our air, water, land, and food supply is safe, because the military is poisoning our waters from Kalamazoo to Timbuktu. And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets, live from the friggin' fucking bunker. And we'll be right fucking back. Back again. And what about these religious cults in America? What about religions that say they don't have to pay any taxes? I'm a very spiritual person, but I have to pay taxes. What makes them exempt from paying taxes? Because of the amount of people that they are, where there are a lot of spiritual people in America, and why should they have to pay taxes? How many religious people do I have to get on my side so that we don't have to pay taxes? You tell me. Why is it that the Catholic Church, for all these years, get off scot-free not paying taxes? The Catholic Church had a conspiracy going. And people say, oh, a conspiracy will never work. You can't keep all those people quiet. Well, the Catholic Church certainly did with the molestation of all those children. The Pope needs to sell all those golden chalices and take that money and pay to the families because of those priests' malices. Sell the chalices, golden chalices, to pay for the priests' malices. Is this on? Write in Lord Mayor, Mark Lord Mayor. I would keep every town worker on, and I would give them a raise. Do you hear that, town workers? Do you hear that, Dale Weber? Why change government? Just work with what you have. That's the problem. With a mayor, with a Lord Mayor like myself, Mark Lord Mayor, I would keep all the planning board. I would keep everything in place. Just tell them to cut the shit and get down to brass tacks. Cut the fat a little bit. Make them responsible. Don't go firing everybody like a complete idiot saying, oh, I'm the mayor, I'm going to change this. The best thing to do with town government, especially a mayoralship government, as I, Lord Mayor, Mark Lord Mayor, write in Mayor, write me in. I'm for the people. I'd keep all the planning board. I'd keep all the town meeting members on. I'd keep everybody on. Town workers, I give them a raise. Teachers, give them a raise. But we have to work together. work together. And you know it's gonna happen. And you know something? You need to write in a Lord Mayor like Mark Lord Mayor. You have to write in. I'm not gonna run on no ballot. I'm not gonna raise any money. I am the people's person. I am the mayor for the people. I'll keep all government agencies the way they are in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and work within the system. No sense in firing these people. So they made wrong decisions in the past. We together will make it right. We must fight government and make it right for the people. And the people that don't own homes, the people the 59% of the people that rent in Plymouth, Massachusetts, we need to work with them. We even need to think about the children. The children are our most important resource. They have no rights. We must fight for them. But as Lord Mayor, I'd work with the existing agencies that are in place and get things done. There's no sense in getting rid of all the agencies. Keep the people you have and work with what you got. Otherwise, you got nothing. And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets, live from the bunker. As Lord Mayor, I would not listen to Withington. Some guy Withington is saying that well, I'll get back to you on that. I forget what it is, but no more taxes. Enough of taxes. Develop land, growth. Growth is important. You need growth because without growth, you don't have anything. That's how things survive. That's how things grow. When you put a seed in the ground and it grows, a sunflower, when you put one seed in the ground and a sunflower grows, you have a sunflower. Once that sunflower dies, if you don't plant another seed for another sunflower to grow, you have no growth. You have no sunflowers. Growth is prosperity. To preserve land is not prosperity. To bring in other people and other industry and other businesses into Plymouth is growth. And growth is prosperity. Non-growth is non-prosperity, and non-growth and more taxes. Is this on? So the Conservation Preservation Act is a tax. The Conservation Act is a tax. And for Withington, some self-appointed man of Plymouth, what an asshole, says that Plymouth is going to be benefited by open land. No, it's not, because you have non-growth. Builders who build homes create the roads. We don't have to create the roads, they create the roads. We make it mandatory for construction companies who build subdivisions in Plymouth, Massachusetts to create their own homes. Anyway, those people that are buying those homes don't have children because they're $300,000 homes, and what family who has kids can afford $300,000 homes? They can't. So to say that we need more schools because of the building going around Plymouth, we're going to need more schools, that's a lot of horse crap. Because the people that are buying those homes are empty nesters. They don't have any kids. They have grandkids. So it's all a big lie for the rich so that they can live in an opulent lifestyle, and they're living in the old, and they could care about the young people in Plymouth who need homes. They could care less about first-time home buyers. Larry Faber, who has donated, getting dark, Larry Faber, hero in my book, Larry Faber, who is hero in my book, has donated 100 acres. 100 acres to the town of Plymouth, Larry Faber. And I said to Larry Faber, maybe we should build single home dwellings for the first-time home buyer. What if you divided 100 acres into 4-acre lots, which is, 4 homes per acre, which is a quarter acre, which ain't too bad. Single-family homes for the low-income people. Single-family homes at 100 acres, that's 400 homes. Why should the government have to subsidize poor families forever when in fact they can own their own homes if we open up Larry Favor's 100 acres into 400 low-income housing, single-dwelling homes? Poor people are good people. Give them the right and the dream of the American dream. And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets. Don't let the rich have all the cream. Even the poor people have dreams, and they would take care of those single-dwelling homes for sure. Even if they were Buckminster Fuller domes, geodesic domes. Stop polishing the chrome. Build geodesic homes. Don't be alone. Come with me to the land of the free. Have a dream. Write me in as mayor. Then you'll see that I am for the people. The town workers, I'm for them. The teachers, I'm for them. It's the school system, I have a way to build schools inefficient. I have a way to build schools efficiently. I have a way to teach these children better ways. Those weren't the days. These are the days. Old ways have got to go to make way for future days. Don't be in a daze. What are you, crazed? This isn't a phase. This is these modern days. And this is Mark, and this is City Lights, City Streets. And the children out there, the young people from 9 years old to 10 years old to 20 years old, you need to get back and see reality the way it is and not the way the politicians tell you. Don't listen to Bush and say that if you're for us, you're fine. If you're against us, you're against us, because that ain't the American way. These are the days. Don't let them pass in a haze. Don't be crazed by the dazed. Be informed. Don't listen to my words. Find out for yourself. Don't be a turd. The food is polluted. I will teach you how to make curd. Sheesh. People think I make money doing this. I don't. I volunteer my time and my life for 5 years now, bring it to enlighten you. These aren't my opinions. This is City Lights, City Streets. This is my dominion. But these are not my opinions. You look up the facts. You see the reality. You see that Bush said on his 2002 State of the Union address that they have found, quote, they have found American diagrams of nuclear power plants in Al-Qaeda caves, and then he cuts back on nuclear security. And then Congress gives money to add 50 more nuclear power plants. We know nuclear power plants are bad. They create nuclear waste for 20,000 years. That's not good. Everybody agrees that nuclear waste is bad. Shut it down. Don't be had. If you were a mother or a dad, be glad. Do something. Write me in as Mark, Lord Mayor. Don't be sad. We will work within the system. We'll make it happen. We won't drop the ball. I am for the all. Be tall. Don't be small. Call the senators and representatives to stop nuclear power now, or else pow, it's gone. And then we have to evacuate. And then Pilgrim and Plymouth economy evaporates. It's not too late to change fate. Don't be boxed in by governmental crates that tell you that if you don't believe what we believe, then you're a terrorist. That's fascism. Don't believe in that in any degree. This is America. Be free. Bring back the Statue of Liberty.